Okay, we continue with the laws of Ribis, usury, forbidden interest from Shulchan Aruch HaRav. Like we said, we are still in the first siman where the Rav, the Balatanya, introduces all the different types of Ribis that there could be before he gets into the details. So he introduces now another form of Ribis. Yesh Ribis b'melacha, right? There is the concept of Ribis when doing a work exchange. What does he mean? Going for instance, it's like this. You know, do me a favor. You'll help me out, and you will lend me yourself, as it were. You will help me, paint my living room. And another time I'll return a favor by helping you lay bricks, which is a heavier workload. It's like as it were, you're lending me. This may only be midrabanan, we'll see later. This may only be midrabanan, but nonetheless, the rabbis outlawed anything that looks like interest. As it were, he lends you his painting, his helping you paint your bedroom, and you are repaying the loan, repaying the favor by helping him lay bricks, which is heavier. So it's like giving him interest on what he lent you, right? Or alternatively, say, listen, I need you from Sunday, from sunrise to sunset, because we're working outdoors. We can only work in the light. Right, so you help me, let's say, plant my field from sunrise to sunset in September, and I'll help you plant your field from sunrise to sunset in July. Okay, so it's also looks like interest. He lent you a day of work on a short day, and you're paying him back with a day of work on a long day. So whether it's interest, looks like, ribis, in the fact that the work is harder, or it looks like interest in the sense that you're paying him back by working a longer day. And so also another case of ribis is asur lomar alveni mana al chodesh mana al yosef chodesh. You know what? Lend me $100 now for 30 days. And, I'm going to return the favor. And at another time, I'm going to lend you $100 for 2 months, right? So the favor of having been lent $100 for a month is going to be returned, as it were, repaying the loan, returning the favor by extending the loan for $100, but not for a month, but for 2 months, or even more than anything more than a month. There are even those that say, there are even those that say, lend me $100 for a month, right? And I'll give you $100. I'll extend you a loan of $100 on a different month. There's Ribis commercial Torah. My poreh b'masay por melacha kolshu shava l'rishona. Hashem kol ba'alva because chalafil ba'alva shava raise a Ribis shel Torah. In pasuk imo came b'shas ava o b'shah shir viach lo zman. All right, so now he says like this, that there are those that say that, in this idea of the quid pro quo in lending, right, even if I promise to, I'm going to repay you the $100, and I'm also going to, return the favor and lend you $100 just for a month, just like you lent me just for a month. But that's already ribis, because listen, think about it. You're paying back the loan, and plus you're giving an extra benefit. And it could be that this scenario, not only is, saying a double stringency, that this scenario where I'm going to just return the favor and lend you $100 also when you need it, right? Could be even ribis doraisa, because it's something additional to a loan. It's a regular loan. Right? So I'm paying back $100 plus I'm giving you, promising you a favor, right, of also giving you a loan in addition to paying back the loan, right? So and that's really what the Torah answered. The Torah answered by a loan, giving anything extra in addition to paying back the loan is ribis, right? So he's saying, and the second opinion is saying that even to make a loan for the same amount of time, you lend me $100 for a month, I'll lend you $100 for a month when you at another time. If that was stipulated at the time of the loan or at the time that the guy asked you for an extension, extend it, and I'll also, when the time comes, I'll also lend you money when you need it, right? So if at those critical junctures of either when the loan is initially issued or when the loan is extended, so it's like built into the contract, that's Ribis Doraisa, right? That's Ribis Doraisa, right? Vim also can, so now, as opposed to the case that we opened up with, right, about the work for me and I'll work for you, right? That's not Doraisa, right? It's D'Rabbanan because it looks like this, but it's not really Doraisa because it's not really a loan. You didn't lend me money. You work for me, and I'm returning the favor by working for you, all right? So it's like I'm paying you for the work that you did for me. I'm paying you. All right, but it looks like ribis, so the Chazal outlawed it. But the truth is, even though I'm overpaying back, look, go figure. Maybe I'm a specialist, and or just let's say the other way around. You're a specialist, even though you work for me in painting my room, but you're such a good painter that my amateur laying bricks is commensurate with your professional painting. Or you're a very fast worker, so you're working for me on a short day. I'm a lousy worker, so the least I could do is work for you on a long day, and then it'll be equal. We could make that argument, and that's why it's only ribis midrabanan. But this is mamish alone. This is textbook ribis. This second opinion saying this is a loan, right? And so you're paying back $100 plus you're promising on top of the loan an additional favor to make a loan. Now, it's of course only going to be ribis doraisa if it's built into the terms of the loan. So at the critical time when I ask for the loan, I promise you to loan you when you need. Or alternatively, another way of building it into the loan itself is when you ask for an extension. Okay, I'll grant you the extension, right? But you better lend me money when I need it. So at those two critical junctures, it's baked in to the loan. That's where it could be mamash, even ribis doraisa. Right. So now, but of course, he adds in parentheses that if it's not baked in, to the actual terms of the loan, which are at two critical junctures. Either when the loan is first extended, you better lend me also when I need. So that's at the time loan, or all right, I'll extend the loan, but only if when I need, you'll lend me money. Those are two critical jobs to make it baked in, and that's when it could be mamish ribis doraisa. Even though we're talking about the same lending for 30 days, you lend me 30, I lend you 30 days, right? It could be the ribis doraisa because it was baked in. If it wasn't baked in, but like when the guy returns the loan to me, he says, what? Because you lent me this money when I really needed it. Here, you could probably use $100. Here's a loan, so it's done all like, impromptu, just in gratitude, but it wasn't originally stipulated. That's Ribis D'Rabbanan, as we will learn, right? Ribis D'Rabbanan, giving a loan in gratitude for the loan that you got is for sure only midrabbanan. But we're talking about that if it's baked into the contract, like, aside from paying back, you'll also return the favor and loan. That if it's baked in, at the two critical junctures of when the loan is initially issued, or alternatively, when the loan is extended, it could be ribis doraisa, right? Then you just feel, at the time you return the loan, and I'm grateful, so I'm also going to lend you $100. you'll pay me back, of course. But, so here's $100, and here's another $100 I'm lending you in gratitude that you lent me. That's also midrabanan. It wasn't stipulated, so therefore it's only also midrabanan. So that he wants to say like this. It's important to identify what might be doraisa and what might be dorabanan, because in any doubt, by a doraisa you have to be machmir, right? So since if it's baked into the loan, it becomes a doraisa. So you have to really be machmir, really be machmir that not to make any type of loan, even if it's for the same amount of time or the less amount of time, even less, according to this way of thinking, even less amount of time. Not stipulate to issue any loan in gratitude for having gotten a loan, right? That must not be stipulated even for the same amount of time, according to stick, even for a lesser amount of time. And because it's something in addition to the actual payback of the loan, right? So for sure, when it's an issue of a deraisa, you have to be machmir, right? When it's an issue of a derabanan, you could be mekel. So let's say, in a example of the work for me and I'll work for you, it will only, which is clearly only midrabanan. So over there, because it's not a real loan, really, it's like I'm paying you back for the work that you did for me. It's really schar sochir, just it looks like a loan. Over there, we could be mekel that it's only osir if I'm asking you to do heavier work, right? That you do that, or I'm offering to do heavier work for you having done for me light work, or work for you on a longer day in return for you having worked for me on a shorter day. So it's only also when I'm offering to return the favor larger than the favor you extended me. It's only also if offering more, because that's clearly only midraban. But when it's like loan me, and aside from paying back the loan, I'm also going to extend a loan to you when you need it. It's baked in, it's stipulated. Shouldn't do it for any amount of time, right? Shouldn't do it for any amount of time. Right. Okay. So it's important to keep in mind, which scenarios are doraisa, which scenarios are draban for the gray areas. So gray areas and drabans, we can always take the more lenient opinion. And when it's an issue of a doraisa, you always have to take the more machmir opinion. And this is, all just the general orientation. We get into all the details in the later simanim. Okay. But by the way, this idea of like at the time of the repay, I will now give you another loan. I'm repaying the loan that you extended to me, and I'm also loaning you money. That's usher, mid-derabanan, even for the shortest amount of time. If it's done that way, and that's of course because it wasn't. And it's only midrabanan because it wasn't stipulated either at the time when the loan was extended, or initially issued, or alternatively extended. Even then, it's also midrabanan. We have to keep track of what's midorais, what's rabban for the gray areas, because when it's an issue of a doraisa, like stipulating and baking it into the loan, they have to take the most stringent opinions, and when it's clearly only midraban, you could rely on the more lenient opinions. Okay, so now we continue to introduce types of ribis, right, which are dorabanan, and it's actually it has to do with an example that we just mentioned. There's something called as pre-offered ribis or post-offered ribis, which then says, of course, since they are either pre-loan or post-loan, they're not part of the loan, so it's therefore not midorais, and it's only asur ribis, that's baked into the terms and conditions of the loan. There's like prepaid interest or post-paid interest after the loan was over, but since it looks like interest, looks like ribis, chazal asur it. Also, there's and it's also, when we say it's prohibited, it's not just prohibited for what the guy to offer, it's also prohibited for the guy to accept, for the lender to accept. So it's also for the borrower to extend it, and it's also for the the lender to accept it. But here's the thing, right? When you this prepaid ribis or postpaid ribis that Chazal asered, they asered it, that don't do it. But if done already, it does not have to be returned. Even let's say even to get forgiveness from the heavenly court does not have to be returned, right? It does not have to. Chazal only asered the extending or the acceptance of the gift, the extending or the initial acceptance. But once it changed hands, it's really in essence a gift. Just Chazal did not want you to give this type of gift, but it's not ribis, right? It's a type of gift in gratitude for the loan, but not part of the loan. That Chazal did not want this to happen, but if it happened already, it's considered a gift and it does not have to be returned. Ketzah, what's this example? You want to borrow from some guy. You want this rich guy to give you a loan. How do I convince him to give me a loan? I got to butter him up. Sends him gifts. Send him a bottle of wine. Right before you ask him for the loan, you send him flowers. Zui Ribis Mukdemes. Right. This is the prepaid ribis that we were referring to. It was a gift to convince the guy to give you a loan. That's the ribis mukdemes, right? Now let's say, the other way, the postpaid ribis that we also refer to is as such. You paid back the loan, and then you send them, roughly about the same day, in a time that's associated, with the return of the loan. Send them a gift. You send them flowers, send them a bottle, because he gave you that loan when you're in a really tight spot. You're in a tight spot and you're really grateful. It's not interest. It's just out of gratitude. Still, it looks like ribis and Chazal asered it, right? You listen, because you feel bad. The guy, he gave you this loan, and that money he could have invested, but he gave you his loan. You feel gratitude. So right, that gift that you give, those flowers that you send, or the bottle of wine that you send, because you are just grateful for the loan, because the guy, he could have used that money for himself, and he gave it to you and helped you in a tight spot. This is postpaid ribis mucheres. But let's say like this: you are family friends, right? Right, and you always, you send them. You always send the guy flowers on Erev Shabbos. Let's say, always send him a wine before a Yom Tov. Okay. So now, and that always and you had that custom even before you took this loan from the guy. You could still send him, the bottle of wine. You're accustomed to send him every Erev Yom Tov, unless you bedafka timed it together with the paying of the loan, so it should be associated as gratitude with the loan. Then that's also to do. So intention over here, intention and timing is everything. It has to be understood that the bottle of wine that he got around the time you returned the loan had nothing to do with the loan, because it's the same bottle, same type of basis of relationship that you've had, way before, that predates the loan, right? So if you always were in the habit of sending the guy gifts, as long as it's not associated with the loan, right? Even though the timing is, it came out roughly the time that you returned the loan, but it's not, it fits the pattern that there always was. So it's not, doesn't look like it's for the loan, then it's mutter, right? Right. This is, right. So seemingly this would be the case, I would imagine. I'm just looking in the footnotes over here. I would imagine it's the case by either before the loan or after the loan, that if you always were family friends and you always sent stuff to each other, right? Right. Right. So I imagine these criteria of like, family, friends, it It makes no difference whether the regularly scheduled pre-Yom Tov wine came punked right before you took out the loan or came punked right after you returned the loan, since it matches the pre-existing pattern and it's not associated with the loan that happened. It's Chazal did not answer it. So now, since it's V'yesh matilite dorno b'star shev rashol b'shul halva af al pishu miskan l'kach. ואפילו הרוגל ליטו קודם לכן, לפי שמטר לועס וגיל הרבה אדם בשלוח ישראל, נקרא שהוא ריביס. לא סורס מוקדש וחז או במפרשו בשביל הלוואה, על ידי שלוחו או בעצו או במתן רובה שיקרא שאינו מתנס חינם, אלא בשביל ההלוואה, כי אין עולם רגיל ליתן מתן מרובה על חינם. Right? So now, there are those that permit, right, giving a small gift. Right? As long as neither you nor your messenger says this gift is for the loan. So so even though you're doing it out of gratitude, right? But as long as you didn't express it's for the loan, it's for the loan, right? So this is especially pronounced after a loan was issued, after you returned the loan. So is when it's especially suspect why you're giving a gift. But it's still mutter because it's a small gift. Listen to the criteria. Small gift, because people sometimes give small gifts. People are benevolent, and you never had this. You see a nice little item in the store. I'll buy it for my friend. Why not? So people do give small gifts. Stam kacha out of the blue. But even that small gift is also, if you said before, and this is in gratitude for the loan, or so that you should give me a loan, right? So even the small gift is also, but small gift, not given with any specification that's for the loan is mutter, even though in your heart you're doing it because the guy gave you a loan, right? But since it's a small gift and you did not directly connect it to the loan, it doesn't look like ribis because people do give small gifts, stam kacha, just good neighbors, good friends. So Chazal didn't answer it, right? But that's only a small gift. You give a big gift, I get a charcuterie board, $50, $60. Of course, this is all relative, in Biden's America, what doesn't cost $50, $60, right? But, I'm just saying, you understand what I mean? If it's something big, like an expensive bottle of wine, a big charcuterie board, saying it was cost good money. That people just don't do that for nothing, right? So that's suspect. So the big gift you can't give, prior to requesting a loan or right after having returned the loan, because big gifts are suspect. Must be because of the loan. Okay. ואפילו מה יוצא לו ליטה בתרוב וכל מכן אין לו ליטנו לפני לבוא ואחפרון בסמך לו קצת, אפילו בסתם, מפני שיש לו קול ופירס ובס משום מה יצא שירס. Now let's say you guys are like really, really good friends and sometimes you buy big things for each other, just because out of the love you have for each other, like a very close neighbor. So you see a good bottle of wine just came in, a special vinegar, I'm buying it for my friend. Like you would do a thing like that. That's still usher before or after the loan. That's still usher. But wait a minute, I have a try. I do this. I give big gifts because we are that way with each other. We have a special relationship. You guys may have a special relationship with each other, but a big gift, some guy comes over and says, who brought you those flowers? Wow, who brought you that vintage wine? Oh, and the person, the observer, thinks he was buttering him up for the loan. So it's Maris Ayin. So a big gift, even if you're in the habit of giving each other big gifts, it's still usher right before or right before taking a loan or right after having returned the loan. Because even if, you guys, between the two of you, it's nothing out of the ordinary, but people hear about the big gift and people hear about the loan. And it looks like he was buttering him up for the loan. Ribis Mukdam. Or he's showing gratitude on top of returning the loan, Ribis Mu'uchar. So because of the Marasayan, the way it looks, because of Matana Mu'et Meruba, a big gift looks suspicious, right? So a big gift is always usher to give right before taking a loan or right after returning a loan because of the way it looks to others, even if you and the borrower just exchange big gifts all the time. Okay. Vafilu mufag arbe achrei pon ena nira karibis afilu matan arub avo mufag arbe achrei apiron ena nira karibis afilu matan aruba vafilu arigo itain shub matan mil mafu pishu miskan pishu ribis razol stam then vashavah muta fis for azuv yeshach lil atzmo kisvara rishona, right? But let's say let's say a let's say a long time afterwards, right? You want to give a big gift, right? So now it's like a long time afterwards, either a long time before, or we'll forget about a long time before. So of course it's mutter because the issue of the loan was never broached, so for sure there's no association. The problem is everyone knows there was a loan, and you want to give a big gift because you really feel gratitude that the guy, went out and gave you the loan. So you wait a long time. You wait 30 days. After you pay the loan. 30 days later, you want to send a big bottle of wine, big bouquet, something big, right? So there are those who permit. Say, listen, it's not associated with the loan anymore, and they permit it even if you have in mind, I want to give him something for the loan. Of course, it's a long time afterwards, but there are those who still prohibit a big gift even a long time afterwards, right? Right, but he says it's not kedai to rely on this. He says, he doesn't, don't give a big gift ever, even a long time after the loan, until it has to be right. I should have specified. Let me rewind. That which we say a big gift a long time afterwards, it's mutter. The one that's super lenient over here is saying, since it's a long time afterwards, even if you never gave the guy a gift ever, right? So there's no custom of you guys giving big gifts to each other. It's mutter because it's after the loan. No one will necessarily make the connection. You in your heart have the connection, but it's easy for. It's easy to miss the connection because it's a long time afterwards. But those who say, no, not to rely on that if you are not in the habit of giving gifts, right? Of course. Well, let's say, what's of course? We said if you're in the habit of giving big gifts, it was only a problem if it's near the loan, right? Because you guys have a history of buying each other big gifts. Good. All right. So, but still usher near the time of the loan. So now one could say, since you were in the habit of giving big gifts, in general, so just wait for a long time after loan, it's mutter. And that would be okay. What this more lenient opinion wants to say is you never gave each other gifts ever, right? Certainly not big gifts. Let's say certainly not big gifts, maybe not even anything. Right, makes no difference. You're not in the habit of exchanging big gifts, and certainly if you didn't not in the habit of exchanging gifts at all, you don't have that type of relationship with the guy, but you waited a long time after the loan. So there are those who permit it, even though you give it because out of gratitude for the loan, but it's not associated because it was a long time after the loan was repaid, right? Right, so much that there's what you call plausible deniability. It's got nothing to do with the loan because it wasn't near the time of the repayment, right? But he says the Rav, so those who say that's fine, even though you're not in the habit of giving the guy big gifts in general, but still, since it was a long time after the loan was repaid, and even though in your heart you want to give it in gratitude for the loan, since it's not, it's plausible deniability, doesn't look bad, doesn't look shady because it's a long time after the loan was repaid, it's mutter. The Rav, the Baal Tanya is saying to be machmir that instance if you were not in the habit of exchanging large gifts with the guy in general. So, large gift, even a long time after the loan, don't give if you were not in the habit, you don't have a pre-existing history of giving large gifts to each other. Right? So he recommends being machmir, although there are those who are meko, he recommends being machmir, again, in the scenario of giving a large gift even a long time after the loan, in gratitude for the loan, and you were not in the habit of giving him large gifts periodically beforehand. And so there are those who are meko, since it's a long time after the loan was repaid. Baal Tanya says, and that's it, that you were not in the habit of exchanging large gifts beforehand, and you are in your heart giving it out of gratitude for the loan, so don't do it. He says that to be machmir in this case. But he'll say, okay. Right. So he says he recommends being machmir. Let's just finish this up. Right. Right, avalelech b'shlichus alos eze davar kol ma sheyadua lakol shu haya lo haya oseh klal below halva reize kamaton ruba v'asur ben lefnei ben lachar piron besamach lo ktsas. Right. So now, even like the more lenient opinion, right? That giving a gift a long time afterwards. Right, that you were not in the habit of giving him, giving the gift a long time after the loan was repaid, and you were not in the habit of exchanging gifts with him beforehand. That type of gift that you want to give, right? It has to be like either a gift that's on the small side that people won't hear about, and even he who hears about it, right, shouldn't think that it's like, since it's not so big, right? So you wouldn't necessarily think it's only because he gave him that gift, right? It has to be like, I say, good, plausible deniability, right? So even, so a long time after the loan is not enough. There has to be, that it's not super big, that people will find out about it. Even if people find out about it, won't associate it with the loan. But like to do a mission for the guy, like to go out of town for the guy, or to do something that's like a super big favor that everyone knows he's only doing that because 6 months ago he gave him a loan that he paid back already. That's usur. All right, so right, that would be like a that would be like a huge gift, and it's also, be it right before the loan, or even after the after the loan, when it's still associatable. You can associate it to some extent with the loan issued, right? So right, so even when we're matir, that if you waited, you could give it, can't be something too big, too special, or something that you said, mafurish, right, that you're doing only because of the loan, right? So even the more lenient opinion has its limitations. Charles appeal Divrak also the Zeli Tevzaka field Davarwood Yosef Michol Ben Mos Ben Avaka field Bestam I feel him it's Kam Kabashava I feel is Batos Konchem Shakoma Shosef Mishas Pion Yosef Michol near Ribis. But this whole discussion, small gift, large gift, small gift, yeah, and if you're in the habit, blah blah blah, all these leniencies, we're all talking that you gave it either before the loan or sometime after you repaid the loan. So it's literally prepaid or postpaid. If on the day that you return the loan, you're giving anything extra on together with the repayment of the loan, giving anything extra, even the smallest thing, and you don't even have in mind that it's for the loan, right? It is totally also to be given, totally also to be accepted, because anything that, midrabban, of course, because it wasn't stipulated at the time of the loan or at the time that the loan was extended, but anything extra together with the repayment of the loan at the time of repayment of the loan is also according to everybody. All these things that we talked about, leniencies, is when it was, before the loan or post the repayment of the loan. At the time of repaying the loan, midrabban, it's also to give back anything extra, anything, right? And as we're going to learn, even to thank profusely is also because of ribis. All right, that's a lot. Now again, this is, if this sounds confusing, this whole first siman is just an introduction to all the types. All the details of ribis will be, this is a general orientation to where the issues lay, and all the details are coming up in the later simanim. All right, so if you know what, let's just. Let's do one more. Why not? Let's do one more, right? And because the topic is about to shift, right? Another type of when we can have ribis, and it would say that looks like ribis, but it's actually it's commerce. Right? וכל זה בא, ומקבול דונות לדברי הכל, אם נוסו סחור מעט יותר ממה שחייב לו, אפילו הסכם בשביל שהמתין לו, רק שמפרש לו כן, אינו נוסו לו, אלא נוסו לו בסתם, מפני שהדבר נקרשו בשביל שהמתין לו, נראה כאילו מוזל לו הסחור מעט, וכל שנקרשו ריבס, לא גוזר מקחומים כל לדברי הכל. Right? So now, all these issues that Chazal were so stringent, and anything extra, like we just said, we just came off saying anything extra at the time of repayment of loan, even it wasn't stipulated, and even though I'm giving it because I like you, it has nothing to do with the loan, it's all asa, right? That's, when it's a loan, that Chazal asert anything that looks like ribis. But let's say in commerce, like a very common thing, this happened to me. I was once in a pizza parlor, and they forgot about my order, and they forgot about me. And like half an hour later, I say, here's my, oh my gosh, they felt so bad. So I paid for a pizza. They threw in on top of the pizza onion rings. Or no, it was garlic nuts. Who cares? But it happened to have been garlic nuts. They threw in garlic nuts because I waited so long. That's mutter, right? That's mutter. Because it's called, I got a discount on the pizza. But it's mutter because A, it's not a loan, and B, they didn't say mefurish, it's because you waited so long to get your pizza. So it's like I lent them the money that's being repaid with the pizza. That's how it could look like ribis, right? So it's A, they just did it because, here, a gift, it's on the house, right? It was clear they did it because I was waiting for half an hour because they forgot about me. So that's not usher. That is not usher because it's really commerce, and it's really that I got the pizza at the discount because for the money I paid for pizza, I got pizza plus garlic nuts, right? But that's so long as they, sorry about that, here are garlic nuts. But if they say mefurish, it's because you waited so long to get the pizza you paid for that I'm giving you the garlic nuts. If they make the blunder of iterating it like that, then that's also midrabanan. Because it just is now, it's just too similar to ribis. But if they just threw in something on the house because you were waiting around, but they didn't say before, it's because you were waiting around that I'm giving this to you, right? As long as they don't say those critical words, Chazal didn't answer it. If they say those critical words, it's because you were waiting around. So it's like your mamish making it sound like ribis, like interest, because you waited longer to get your goods, then the Rabbanan did answer it, right? And then it's also like, as I recall at the time, they didn't say the critical words. It's because you wait. I'm giving you garlic nuts. He said, he didn't say mefurish, right? So it was not usher for me to receive the garlic nuts. But if he says it's because you waited, I'm throwing in garlic nuts, then it is prohibited to accept the garlic nuts or whatever. That was the case in point. But anytime, like, because the order took so long, I'm throwing in something extra, and you say it that way, right? You say it that way, right? So that makes a problem. And now let's say I feel I believe most of the harbish but another example is like I paid for one pie. I waited for a half an hour. So they don't throw in garlic knots, They throw in a second pie or a pie and a half, which just ridiculously, it's not a gesture. It's like that looks like ribis. So getting a lot because the order was delayed, and this could be also in mail orders. There could be anything. Anytime you're buying something, and because you waited so long to get your merchandise, they give you something extra. It's got to be something small, and they can't say it's mafurish that it's because you waited, because then they're making it look like ribis, and so Chazal have to answer it. Chazal did answer it. Right, it just has to be. Look, we're giving you a discount. When without specifying that it's for having waited so long, so it's like they decide to give you a discount. So instead of your money being worth a pizza, it's worth pizza plus garlic knots. They decide to give you a discount. It's only a problem, if it's done in that way that we described, because it's really in essence not a loan. Chazal did not intervene to make that osur because it looks like commerce. It looks like, they decide to give you a discount. So your money, instead of just buying a pizza, now could buy that same. I could buy pizza and garlic. I gave you a discount. But like we said, if they mafurish say you're getting the garlic knots because you waited around, or ultimately they give you a double. They give you two pizzas, which so now the over the top gift is just too obvious. It's also for you to accept it, right? And I hope when I got those garlic knots, he did not say anything about me having waited so long, even though it was obvious that was the reason. But Chazal did not answer it if it's something small and it was not. You need both criteria. Something small because it's something large and it's obvious. It's ribis. Looks like ribis and therefore also midrabanan. And if it's just something small, even then it's only permitted if he doesn't say, and it's because you waited to get what you were owed. So for that length of time, here's the, I think we've explained this enough. Okay. Next session, we will continue with types of ribis. Like I said, this is all a general orientation. Hashem should help that if we didn't get anything perfectly accurate now during the orientation siman, we'll get it exact when we get into the details. But Baruch Hashem, I'm sure the function of everyone being aware of issues, of where there are issues, we are fulfilling the objective of this siman. If we have not nailed down all the detailed halachas. Okay. Surah Tailis.